Hello, good afternoon and welcome to News Hour live on the SLBC television with me, Michaela, Brewa. Coming up in this afternoon's edition of the news, World Bank Group approves 138 million United States dollars to boost electricity generation and supply. First Lady Sianya Makroma attends the 17th General Assembly of First Ladies Against HIV and AIDS of African Union. Some residents at Kisishel raised concern over the construction of a structure at the community dump site, and mobile companies in the country express interest to increase tariff. All these stories and more, including business and sports news in the news this afternoon. I'm Michaela. We begin the news. World Bank Group has approved 138 million United States dollars as project support for Western Area projects to boost electricity generation and supply. The support is to develop a 57 megawatts heavy fuel oil greenfield thermal power plants to boost electricity generation in Freetown and its environs. Princess Gibson reports.
From members of the World Bank Group serves as an important signal to the private sector that the country is ready for investments towards recovery efforts from the Ebola crisis. The electricity generation support is to increase access to energy for residents in the western area.
Shortage of energy supply is one of the biggest challenges facing people in Sierra Leone. You don't have electricity. Only 15% of the population of Sierra Leone has electricity, 85% does not. And even for the 15% that does have electricity, it does have electricity for part of the year other than running private generators, because Bumbuna fluctuates. In the dry season, the river is down and you cannot generate electricity, and in the rainy season, when the water level is good, that is when you can generate electricity.
The World Bank recognizes government's commitments to a series of reform measures that are designed to improve on the financial viability of the electricity sector, particularly by EDSA. However, the World Bank Country Director in Sierra Leone, Paminda Brewa, noted that electricity generation projects will be successful if financial and operational challenges are adequately addressed.
The amount of network loss in the system right now is 38%, which means 38% of the electricity generated is lost before it can reach consumers. And apart from the technical losses, you also have significant amount of non-technical losses, which is significant amount of theft of electricity is taking place in Freetown itself.
The project starts operation within 2 years, although there are concerns expressed by journalists at the press conference about Sierra Leone's capacity.
The First Lady, Sianya Makroma, has attended the 17th General Assembly of First Ladies Against HIV and AIDS of African Union held in the Rwanda capital, Kigali. The First Lady delivered a statement on the topic, ending child marriage and ensuring girls' rights. Razia Bashkamara reports.
Mrs. Sianya Makroma said early child marriage is one of the major human rights violations and the worst form of child abuse, and that an estimated 142 million girls will be married as children by the end of the decade. She maintained that approximately 15 million girls are married every year before the age of 18. The First Lady added that out of the 41 countries worldwide with the highest prevalence of 30% or more, 30 are from Africa. Mrs. Sianya Makroma disclosed that the data reveals that in Sierra Leone, 16% aged 15 to 49 years are married before the age of 18, and the 50% aged 18 to 49 years were married before the age of 18 years. She went on that about 1 in 4 young girls aged 15 to 19 years are currently married, who are in the average of 23%, and that 1 in 3 women, about 44%, aged 15 to 49 years, are in polygamous union. The First Lady pointed out that indicators of early marriage are highest in the rural areas as against the urban areas, including lower levels of early marriage, reach of early marriage with women's education and health. Deliberating on the causes and effects of early marriage, Mrs. Yanyama Kuruma said child marriage is deeply rooted in gender inequality, particularly gender-based violence and gender discrimination, poverty, tradition, culture, and critically infringes on girls' children's rights. She noted that the causes and effects also negatively affect girls' education, health, psychosocial well-being, and long-life development. Highlighting what they have done as a union, the First Lady revealed that African member states have ratified several human rights instruments that address child marriage, which include the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, the United Nations on the Rights of the Child, the Maputo Protocol of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, and the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. She made it clear that most of these are legally binding and have mechanisms for monitoring, reporting, and accountability, and that furthermore, the Common African Union position on ending child marriage serves as a useful policy framework for member states. Mrs. Yanyama Kuruma added that Target 5.3 of the Sustainable Development Goals focuses on the elimination of all harmful traditional practices, including child, early, and forced marriage and female genital mutilation. She also mentioned that the African Union Commission Agenda 2063 Aspiration 6 Goals is yet another important and complementary framework. Meanwhile, the First Lady Mrs. Yanyama Kuruma and other African First Ladies visited the Kigali Gisozi graveside at Kwibuka village, where victims of the Rwanda genocide are buried.
An ambulance speedboat for Bond District Health Management Team, which constitutes Bond Municipal and District Council, has been commissioned at the ceremony at the Matujang Wharf, Matu. This ambulance is to boost the capacity of the Bond District Health Management Team, especially in moving patients from riverine communities to access medical services. Anne-Marie Gibai reports.
Which was procured by the Integrated Projects Administration Unit of the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development under the auspices of the Reproductive and Child Health Project 2, will increase the Bond District Health Management Team's service coverage and timely response to primary healthcare services, especially pregnant women, lactating mothers, under 5 children, and other persons living in difficult-to-reach riverine communities in Bond districts. The World Bank funds reproductive and child health projects in the country, while IPAU are facilitators of reproductive and child health projects and other World Bank supported projects. Speaking at the Matujang Jetty, the Coordinator Integrated Project Administration Unit at the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development, Alpha Ibrahim Sise, said the project was done by its units. Deputizing the World Bank country manager, senior health specialist and task force team leader for the Reproductive and Child Health Project 2, Dr. Francisca Ayo Akala, told guests that the speedboat would help both districts in the fight against maternal and child mortality. Dr. Akala assured all of World Bank's commitment to maintain support to government and the people of Sierra Leone. The Director of Planning, Policy and Information, Ministry of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Sas Kagbo, described the commissioning of the ambulance speedboats as a dream come true. He said the journey started in 2011 when President Nkrumah initiated the free health care, taking cognizance of the challenges in accessing quality health care in very difficult areas. Host Paramount Chief Aliyu Badara Sharif of Jong Chiefdom commended government and the World Bank for their support. It takes approximately 4 hours to travel from Matu to Bons, Shabro Island, using locally made boats powered by outboard engines. The procurement of the ambulance speedboats will drastically reduce the traveling time to over half, covering the same distance.
Community members in the Kisi community have raised concern over the construction of a house at the only dumping site for the community at Kisi Shore. The disposal site has served the Kisi Shore community for the past 40 years. Reports suggest that the site has been sold to a businessman to put up a structure. Our reporter Mariama Denke Kanu was there.
Whenever it rains, as drainages would be stockpiled with rubbish since there will be no alternative. The community members informed SLBC that this dump site is the only site available in the Kisi community. The community members are concerned why the only dump site should be sold when it is not suitable to put up any structure there, even when it falls within the SLRA right of way. According to the people, several complaints have been made to stakeholders, including the Member of Parliament, Council, and the President, Ernest Bai Kuruma. The sale of the dump sites, they add, will create an unhealthy atmosphere in the community, with huge piles of rubbish on the streets, which will cause serious waterborne diseases and eventual deaths and flooding.
It's not for the force. 2 years ago, we can't like this again, put pan, but we have to fuel out. So before the first month, you can't begin surround the place, the dirty box, say they don't buy everything, they want for camping day. So we thought of it, say the community need for meeting them. What we follow, this dirty box, some of we don't born on a new site to call me this dirty box now. Over 30 to 40 years of dirty box only. Quarry, locust, shell, Crecia, the all answer the dirty. They want the community that suffer.
A community member, Fode Mansaye, says the structure, if erected, would be built on top of a culvert and confirms the fence is constructed beyond the SLRA right of way.
Permanent for all the time. You go see say na go through them park. Now pass this dirty, this man can be loose. It will be right for the country as a whole for let person can be the house na such a place. We call on the necessary bodies and the concerned people away. Now they all work. Let them come and decide. Let them see to advisable for let this man be off Naya.
Alhaji Kamara was one of the garbage collectors in the community. He says the ugly development will put a job.
So the community now will take the thing in their hand. It's only for bag or 1,000 for bag. But now, what do you money for me now? Now like 5,000, 4,000, 3,000 because I know they give to me. We now here, they give the only guys. So take it to and take a woman. They far and apps. So then now that system will suffer through.
Aisatu Kante, a resident living around the dump site, says the Ministry of Lands should be blamed for the sale of the land.
It's not something they talk against now. As for the full amount where they say now, they sell it. Now they against the government now one, because now they get documents for like pull the dirty box say he won't bill us.
You see the documents?
He say again documents.
He don't talk to you?
Yes, he talks to me saying get documents for day. They buy them from 90 waiting. He get the waiting and call. Say now so he buy them.
The full amount.
In this day, yes. So now they poorly call boat for making place. We like a we. When can for poor? Because the dirty they suffocate we. Yeah, time they carry next sleep, they also catch fire. The dirty, the team up no more catch fire burn. Who they grab middle legs fair water for hot the fire. So all that need the money we. So if the man can't say get documents for them, one make day, he don't scatter the dirty box. Without no money we. The government will get the paper for them. Let the government sell them back. Say let no build it.
Whilst the Member of Parliament for Constituency 101, Honorable Abdul Salam Kanu, says he has no dealings with the sale of the land. He calls on community members to be patient whilst the issue is being looked into.
Me not only the lands minister, neither the mayor of Freetown will get authority for sale land. I don't think say I get authority for give anybody land in this country. The only thing what we believe that we don't protect the people them who say they forget access to the tea. That's all. I don't have to go make like I say, and they make a protest against other things. There's possible other things. If he they can say, oh, you they say, one for the land, they want to sell the land. There is a mayor, there is a council. When the community somebody this complaint to me, I will still get some members of the community back who go back to the mayor. Mayor, the charges for it provide for me. It's still small. We want a bigger one. Which at least we'll be able to put something. No hearing from her. Because not only going to provide the
efforts to reach the alleged land purchaser proved futile.
Divine Builders Ministry International has conducted free treatment for residents of SS Camp Regent community. The Divine Ministries International was established in April 2016 to help build, change lives and save souls for Christ. Alberta Thomas was there.
General Overseer Estacia Masakoi disclosed that over 350 people benefited from this free treatment, noting that the drugs worth millions of loans and was raised from our own personal fund. Christianity is not all about propagating the gospel of Christ through teachings and dwelling on giving and delivering materialistic sermon, but also meeting the physical needs of Christians.
That on this day we'll be having a medical check-up for people in the community, people who are sick, the less privileged. So we are here with medical practitioners. As you are seeing them in their uniforms, they are taking people BP, the blood sugar, they are checking the temperature, and they are asking series of questions before we administer. And the nurses are in there. As you see, they are checking the patient that are going in there that do have complaint. Because we are only treating people that do have complaint, not people that want to just take the medication. We are treating the people that are sick. Because whosoever may come that want to take the medication without being sick will not administer to the person.
This gesture is premised on Christ's feeding of 5,000 people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes. She encouraged beneficiaries to be visiting the hospital as health is wealth.
So we are very much grateful, and you know that this is a community program that we are just initiating. It's not being sponsored by any organization or personality. It's only by myself, my husband, and the members. There are members in the church who have decided to give their money so that the community people who are less privileged to have such opportunities to have the treatment today. So we are so much grateful, and moreover, we are believing that people who are seeing us, they are seeing this kind of initiative. When you look at the ministry of Jesus Christ, he was not only giving the spiritual unto the people, he was also care about the physical aspect of the well-being of the people.
That was General Overseer Estacia Masakoi.
We join Judith Sana for business updates.
Hello and welcome to the business updates. We begin with the foreign exchange rates. The US dollar buys at 6,026 leons and sells at 6,148 leons. Pound sterling buys at 7,937 leons and sells at 8,100 leons. Euro buys at 6,660 leons and sells at 6,793 leons. That's the foreign exchange rate courtesy of the central bank. Traders in used clothing business are complaining low patronage as they are challenged by the heavy rains and as city council is not allowing them to display their wares for public viewing. Joey and Dube are filing this report.
Traders selling used clothes say business is bad for them, especially when the cost of used clothing by bale is skyrocketing due to the depreciation of the leons and appreciation of the dollar. One of the traders, Fuad Jallo, says he started selling used clothing since the year 2000 and he buys his bale at Abacha Street between 500,000 to 750,000 leons. He complains that city council harassment is part of their problems.
You know they give it chance for sale and they sell it stronger. You know get side for sale. Yeah, I manage with the man. You don't can pass recover where we enter inside on them. You can buy an Abacha Street to Amude. I can buy them 4 or 5 days. They'll give them 15,000.
Another trader, Usman Sanko, says that he has been in this business for 5 years now, but his own business is a little bit different as he is not buying in bulk. He usually buys clothing in bits from those who buy the bales and he does not sell in one particular place. He buys at 15,000 leons and sells at 20,000 leons, making a profit of 5,000 leons per cloth. Similar sentiments were expressed by other traders on their constraints.
Now the business don't get too much. We have been the buy them. So now at times when they buy, money not they come up. Dollar don't go up. So at times when they go buy, money not they come up. At times when they have money come up. Like also we don't get signed. That's how they sell. So now I make go to sell like this.
However, a customer also made comments on the used clothing issue.
No idea. Like you buy 5,000, but now if you don't get 15,000, they get the place. But spread you don't get 20,000, they get. Carry you bet 15,000, they get. I can mix up no more, I mix up fine thing and I buy.
Fishermen in the coastal areas of Freetown have called on government to take on necessary actions to put an end to illegal fishing in Sierra Leone's territorial waters. The illegal fishing practices, they say, is affecting them as well as the country's marine resources. Lucian Ganda has the details.
Recognized as the world's richest fishing grounds, teeming with snapper, sardines, mackerel and shrimps. These rich and expensive sea products are carted away daily by illegal trawlers who often escape without being caught. Fishing has been a way of life for these coastal communities for centuries, but illegal fishing in recent years has depleted fish stocks. Government and fishermen in the country point fingers on foreign vessels which catch fish off-limit waters and launder their catch by offloading it to refrigerated factory vessels at sea. According to the Food and Agricultural Organization FAO, about $1.5 billion worth of fish are taken away by ships fishing illegally each year in West Africa. According to fishermen, foreign vessels often illegally approach the coast, damage the seabed, and destroy fishing gears of artisanal fishermen, putting the livelihood of many at risk. Although government has introduced several initiatives to curb illegal fishing, including marine patrols, improved satellite technology for monitoring the waters, several challenges still remain. A World Bank report states that 30,000 Sierra Leoneans are in the fishing industry in Sierra Leone, and the illegal fishing, they say, is not only affecting Sierra Leone but the sub-regions as a whole. The World Bank report adds that if Sierra Leone can curb illegal fishing, the country would be able to make more money as the country loses over $30 million each year through illegal fishing. Business News, Lucy Nganda reporting.
As the country is on a post-Ebola era, it has been manifested that doing business or promoting investment is key to economic recovery in post-Ebola Sierra Leone. It is for this reason that the Chief Executive Officer of the Sierra Leone Import and Export Promotion Agency, SLEPA, Raymond Becky, recently called on the media to work collaboratively in the dissemination of business opportunities for both national and international investors. Maria Madenke Kanu filing this report.
The Sierra Leone Import and Export Agency is responsible to promote business and investment in the public and private sectors in the country. The chief executive officer used the opportunity to encourage media practitioners to continue working with them as they have been doing. He commended journalists for supporting his institution as they have received several awards at both national and international levels for strides in promoting foreign direct investments. Mr. Gweki said a fast-track commercial court has been established in the country and that the government has introduced the service delivery charter to ensure that service performance is observed in all MDAs. Mr. Gweki said investors have been coming to the country even though the country is in a post-Ebola era, adding that Sleeper has put in place strategies for businesses to succeed in the country.
For our farmers in those villages to get to the market and get the much needed household income increase. So let us look beyond what is happening. Advantage of that. Let us propagate that. Let people know it is not just about shining light on households. It is about supporting industrialization. Because once you put pressure on energy, you are actually promoting industrialization. Companies out there look forward, they don't just look at investment opportunities in your country, they look at the supporting function.
Director of Investment Promotion Sleeper, Farrell Elliott, said investors have come to the country in both the agriculture and mining sectors, and that Sleeper has signed a lot of memorandum of understandings with other international partners. Director of Export Development Shiaka Kawa said delivering commodity prices affects investors' decision as it has been a threat and also affecting balance of payment through requirements for standards. Another commodity threat, he said, is the country's fishing market opportunities, which he said should meet the European Union standard of market as it calls for diversification to set up processing plants in Sierra Leone.
Well, that's the business of this. Thanks for watching. I am Judith Sana.
Well, many thanks to you, Judith, there for the business update. Well, from our business desk, we continue with a news and we take you to a news that has to do with mobile companies. Mobile companies in the country have expressed interest to increase tariff as a result of hike in foreign exchange rates and the payment of GST by the National Revenue Authority. As a result of this, the National Telecommunications Commission has held an interactive session with stakeholders, including mobile companies, Consumer Protection Agency, civil society, and the media as a way of looking into this new proposal. Doreen Kaloko reports.
This forum is an opportunity for mobile phone operators, internet providers, and the consumers to discuss increase in tariffs. Though the Consumer Protection Agency appealed for the tariffs to remain the same for now, representatives from Airtel, Sierratel, and Africell said 6 years ago the tariff was 110 leones, but at present the increase in foreign exchange rate is seriously affecting the operations. They also cited the increase in GST rate to 15% and fuel price 25%. They said their aim is not only to make profit, but to also give back to society. As other companies were calling for tariff increase, the managing director of Smart Mobile Company spoke of the need for a reduction in interconnection fees. Managing director of Online Sierra Leone Limited, Fode Sanko, said mobile companies charge too high in Sierra Leone. He said that as the government is working towards the agenda for prosperity, it is of essence that the companies provide quality and affordable network for members of the public. The chairman of National Telecommunication Commission, NATCOM, Momo Conte, said that the session gave consumers the opportunity to discuss issues affecting them, at the same time allowed the mobile providers to discuss their plans. He said that he took up office at a time when their financial status and management were not in good shape. Minister of Political and Public Affairs, Nane Thomas, said that the increment is coming at a time when the government is making moves for the fiber optic to be operational, which is why mobile companies should not ask for an increase. She called on mobile phone operators to improve their services and expand their coverage to the rural areas than asking for an increase in tariff. The Deputy Minister of Information and Communications, Cornelius Devo, said government has entered in the second stage of the fiber optic operations. He said that it is important for mobile phone operators to make use of the communication infrastructure than to increase tariffs, which would be disadvantage to the public. He calls on operators to make telecommunication accessible and affordable. After deliberations, the operators have agreed to suspend their plan to increase tariffs.
Well, that's all we can share news this afternoon, but before we go, a recap of the headlines. Some residents at Shell raised concern over the construction of a structure at the community dump site. Divine Builders Ministry International conducts free treatment for residents of SS Camp Regent. And the government's municipal secondary school celebrates 50 years of existence. That's all in this news this afternoon. On behalf of my news editor, Sheko Sumaila, I'm Michaela Brewa. Thanks for watching and have a lovely day. Coming up next is Susan the News.